starting lineups as we get you ready for a tip. One big change for Kansas. Number 2, Cliff Alexander, will make career start. Number 2, the freshman in the lineup in place of Jamari Traylor's not been doing a whole lot in terms of the production. So Mason, Selden, Oubre, Alexander, and Ellis, the starting 5 for Kansas. On the other side, the starting 5 for the Red Raiders, Devontae Williams, one of those guys, Miles, in those home big wins. He's been huge.
Well, he's number 0 here in black, and he's going to have a big game as he had 22 points in those upset wins against Iowa State and Kansas State, a guy that's capable of huge numbers.
So they have a pretty good crowd here tonight, and it will get loud if the Red Raiders play as well as they have at times at home this year. Texas Tech, a very young team, right to the basket and right by Oubre. How about Todrick Gocher, who also is making a start, has not been a normal starter for Tubby Smith, and he scores the first bucket of the game.
And that can't make Bill Self happy. Just the weak side defense completely falls asleep, and they give up a straight line drive to a layup.
Alexander gets a touchdown low, and his pass out of a double team goes over the head of his fellow freshman.
And Alexander, he's telling his guy, Kelly Oubre, that's my fault right there. But Cliff Alexander, you're one-on-one in the post, about 10 feet from the basket. Take your time. You're a beast down low. Get your back down and try to get to either draw a double team or your jump hook.
Well, it's just 2 possessions, but not the start that Bill Self wanted to see.
Well, he talked to us in shoot-around today about not giving this Red Raider team a ton of confidence in their home arena.
That was a good play by Selden on the backside of the play to come over and knock it out of bounds. I think the point you're making and that he was making to us was you watch those games where they've come up with the upset wins on this court. Fast starts have given them a lot of confidence.
Yeah, and confidence can go a long way with this Texas Tech team, one of the youngest teams in all of college basketball. 4 freshmen in the rotation, 7 newcomers on this Red Raider roster.
Turner, one senior with the point guard duties. Here is Devontae Williams, gets it back to Turner. Shot clock winding down. He just heaved one up, and the ball will be grabbed by Frank Mason. Alexander, there is that double team, dribbles away from it, and another pass just right over the head of his teammate. That's another Kansas turnover.
And Cliff Alexander making only his 2nd start in a Jayhawk uniform. This time the double team comes. He backs away from it, which is the right thing to do, but you see he's on his heels and nobody comes to meet the basketball. The guy who went to double there, he should almost follow it into where that Big 12 sign area, then maybe Cliff Alexander could have dropped it off to him, and then they would have had an advantage.
So Texas Tech with the early 2-0 lead. Sloppy start for the Jayhawks in the first minute and a half. Williams on the perimeter, bounce pass down low. Odiase, a pretty good low post player, rejected by Alexander.
Nice job by Cliff Alexander, staying down on the pump fakes, holding his position, and not really letting what happened on the offensive end affect him on the defensive end.
Wayne Selden has been a red-hot shooter from the outside.
Wayne Selden is turning into the prospect that many Kansas Jayhawks fans thought they were going to have last season. He's been a little bit inconsistent with his shooting, but 16 points per game over his last 3, including 12 for 18 from beyond the arc.
Yeah, so nothing but consistent of late. That shooting has been so up and down in his Kansas career, but it's almost like the light has come on for Wayne Selden.
Yeah, he talked to me at shoot-around today, just said he's been spending more time in the gym, a little bit more time after practice, trying to be a great leader for this team.
Turner against Ellis, and Alexander another swat. So it's 2-on-2 for the Jayhawks. Selden trying to finish in transition, missed the shot, and then had it stripped away. But Kansas keeps the ball. Ellis needs some help. Finally gets rid of it to Oubre. Oubre from the outside. The freshman hits a 3.
Oubre really struggled on Saturday. Not much production in the loss at Oklahoma State. Hasn't played well on the road as a freshman, but they're coming up with the big 3 on the kick out.
And that's the thing about the Jayhawks. 2 conference losses, some inconsistencies, although overall playing well. Their outside shooting is tremendous. Turner 3. Oubre gets the defensive board. A nice quick outlet pass to Frank Mason.
Yeah, a lot of times when you think of Kansas teams, you think of the high-low offense. Bill Self really going inside, throwing the ball to the Morris twins or Cole Aldrich, even Jeff Withey. Thomas Robinson over the last couple of years, but the strength of this team is their perimeter shooting as they lead the Big 12 in three-point percentage at 40%. There you see another mid-range jumper by Frank Mason.
Yeah, it's hard to get used to in a way, and I think it's hard for the head coach to get used to, but it's a very different style Kansas team. It has been a productive offense, though. Texas Tech ball. Odiase double team comes against him. Nice pass to find Williams open. Odiase, good position. Trying to pass across the lane. He'll get it back and rejected by Oubre, but a whistle and a foul. Well, that sends us to our first time out here in Lubbock.
And Kelly Oubre coming.
Oubre, and we were just talking about it, Miles. It's been an interesting characteristic of this Jayhawks team. They are so good from the outside, leading the Big 12 at three-point shooting. Second worst two-point field goal percentage in the league.
And that's something we talked about with, talked to Coach Bill Self about at shoot-around today. He said that's a big concern for this team. He said they do get some points in the paint, but it's not back to the basket post-up type stuff. And they don't have a guy. Perry Ellis is more of a face-up guy. Alexander hasn't developed at such a rapid rate. Jamari Traylor's kind of an offensive rebound energy guy. So they can't throw it down to a post like I was mentioning before the break to the Thomas Robinson, the Morris twins, the Jeff Withys, the Cole Aldriches that they've had in years past to get their points in the paint. And they really have become they are an excellent three-point shooting team, but you know, they have to continue to find a way and let guys develop here over the next month or so, maybe into the NCAA tournament to be a factor.
A couple of free throw makes for Texas Tech. Those are not a given. Selden attacks and is fouled. Didn't finish at the rim, and I think even that, look, there was a foul, and he's going to shoot free throws. But Coach Self was talking to us about that, about how Wayne Selden specifically has been so good from the outside, but has struggled finishing when he gets into the lane.
And he's actually one of the strongest guys on the team. We talked to strength coach Andrew Ahudi today, and Wayne Selden, a 320 squat max. Now that's impressive. He has a super strong lower body. He was going to throw that one down right there as he had the elevation before he got fouled. But they say he's the strongest player on the team, but that actually Frank Mason III might be the most athletic player on the team. Mason with a 38-inch vertical, standing vertical.
Mason trying to hang in there. The pressure and the pass was too hard right through the hands of Williams. That's a Texas Tech turnover. Mason, you can see him looking at his left leg right now. I think he either collided with a Red Raiders player or...
Well, something happened right after the free throw when they went to press and he tried to plant. He came up limping right away after the free throw.
So it might not have been a collision, maybe just jammed his knee, something like that, but he's okay. Alexander with the left hand, missed the shot. Ellis offensive rebound, he traveled.
And Mason still noticeably limping right now. And here's after the free throw. We watch Frank Mason right there. And he's going to go to pick up full court. And he did get caught up with Todrick Gocher, yeah. It looked like.
Well, there was some sort of collision, whether that was on his knee or his shin. He is still favoring that leg. He's played big minutes, 33 minutes a game.
Bill Self calls him the MVP of this Jayhawk team.
Playing defense here against the freshman Keenan Evans. Aaron Ross trying for some high-low. Gocher pulls up, too strong. Nice hustle by Williams, though. And then Gocher gets his feet in the front court to avoid that over and back.
But I love the hustle by Devontae Williams. He came all the way from the weak side of the floor. No block out by the Jayhawks and tracked that basketball down to keep the possession alive. Devontae Williams, junior college transfer. He's going to need to get going on the offensive end. Only player on the Red Raider team that averages in double figures. Shoots about 40% from the field. He's had 5 20-point games so far this year. Really the only true scorer on Tubby Smith's squad.
Tubby Smith, his second year in Lubbock, trying to totally rebuild what was a program in disarray when he took over. They have a couple of conference wins. Williams against Ellis. Ross from near that free throw line area. Traylor in off the bench. Couldn't grab the rebound, but he tapped it to Oubre.
And that was a nice set, excellent penetration. Ross got the open look, just couldn't knock it down.
faces air ball.
And you see there's the lack of the back to the basket post game that the Jayhawks have.
Here is Williams, the guy Miles was just talking about, has had those explosive scoring games. Selden recently has been playing a lot of good defense. He has gotten the assignment against many of Kansas's opponents' top scorers. He's played a lot of tough D.
Yeah, whenever, even when Selden has struggled in games on the offensive end, as Gocher makes a nice drive to the rim, but no finish. Selden has been super active on the defensive end. We've seen him make some amazing blocks this year in the Big 12.
And Mason has been shooting the three well. He passed up that one. He finds Oubre open, and he hits his second of the first half.
And that's a great play by Frank Mason. When you get to the baseline, Matt, it kind of flattens out the defense, sucks them in, they get the help, and Oubre makes the three.
And then on the defensive end, Oubre with a great steal, and he found Ellis in the open court. Chubby Smith wants a timeout. So the freshman making plays at both ends. The three, the steal, the layup. Kansas up 15-4.
5-Hour Energy's taste is new and improved.
And hold on, they had a huge win at Dallas, but they're going to be without Blake Griffin with a staph infection for multiple weeks, more than likely.
Yeah, scary. Former star in the Big 12, Blake Griffin. Texas Tech ball. Red Raiders made their first shot from the field. They haven't made one since. Pinned under the basket and a block from behind by the Jayhawks. Loose ball to the freshman Evans. Here's Ross on the move, and another block for Kansas. Man, they are protecting the rim here in the early going tonight. Oubre feeling it. He got his three blocked. Nice defense from Gocher.
Well, swarming defense on the interior by the Jayhawks. They have their two best shot blockers in the game in Cliff Alexander and Jamari Traylor. But I like what the Red Raiders are doing. They're attacking against the pressure, trying to get it into the paint, putting pressure on the defense. They're just not able to convert here in the first 8 minutes.
Yeah, at some point those shots have to go down. Texas Tech is 1 for 11 in the first 7.5 minutes. But Evans is at the line to shoot free throws.
And this is a young man that Coach Tubby Smith is very high on, from Richardson, Texas. Both of his parents, great athletes at the college level. His mom, Chantel, at Arkansas and Pine Bluff, was a point guard in basketball. His dad was an even better athlete, participated in the finals of the 2000 Olympics as a high jumper. His father, Kenny.
This kid can play ball. Misses the second of 2 free throws. Brandon Green comes in for the first time for Kansas. The Jayhawks ball leading by 10.
And the Red Raiders can't lose sight of Brandon Green, one of the best shooters in all of college basketball.
Graham wanted to throw a lob to Alexander. Here is Green. A little too strong on that three.
It's amazing that you can lose him. He's a guy that's shooting 62% from behind the arc in conference play.
Turner challenged Alexander, who rips down the rebound, but then had it taken away by Odiase. And Alexander's hurting. He took a shot right in the middle of his chest. He's in a lot of pain. Odiase spins away from the double team, lays it in with a foul. Well, Cliff Alexander's got to regroup. He took a blow, and he'll try to do that as we step aside. He and the Jayhawks up 15-7. But right before that timeout, you noticed him grimacing, and maybe it was part of the reason why Texas Tech got a bucket. Watch Robert Turner on the drive, and that elbow goes right into the midsection of Alexander. Kept on playing, but he was clearly hurting after that.
Yeah, he did. He actually came down with the defensive rebound. The ball got stolen from him by Odiase, and he's actually telling the officials right now, watch out for the elbow on the push-off. But Cliff Alexander, as tough as they come, from Curie High School in Chicago, Illinois. He's the oldest of 5 brothers and 1 sister.
Well, he's played well, but Kansas still sort of waiting for Alexander to put it all together. Free throw goes down for Odiase, who's making his free throws in the early going. Texas Tech trying to hang around in this game against the Jayhawks, down 15-8. That lineup where Kansas uses both of their point guards, Devontae Graham and Frank Mason, at the same time. Mason on the attack all the way to the bucket, and the flush from Alexander.
And that was a great drive by Mason, getting to the left hand, getting all the way to the rim. That sucked over the Red Raiders defender and left Alexander free for the offensive putback.
Well, it's his first bucket, his first 2 points of the game. I think Bill Self, though, has to love the energy from Alexander in these first 9 minutes. A little short jumper, followed good, though. Nobody boxed out. Zach Smith.
Well, that's been a problem for Kansas all season long. They allow 11 second chance points per game, most in the Big 12.
Green in the corner. They're going to call an illegal screen against Traylor. Offensive foul, turnover Kansas.
Well, Cliff Alexander, you see the drive, straight line drive. Mason creates a little separation. Odiasi comes over to contest the shot. Nobody rotates on the backside for Texas Tech to get inside of Cliff Alexander, and he throws it down.
Well, just the 2 points, but 3 rebounds, 3 blocks, a couple other shots I think undoubtedly altered close to the bucket. Evans matched up with Graham. Ellis knocked the ball away. Kansas couldn't steal it, though.
Smith did a poor job of holding his position at the high post, and Perry Ellis got over the top of it to get a deflection.
Turner into the corner. Shot clock starting to wind down.
And see, Robert Turner passed up a shot. Now they're going to get a tougher look.
Yeah, that was just a heave from Evans. Somehow it went in. Really almost volleyballed it into the basket. Trying to get the ball down low to Ellis. Quick double team.
I like the way Kansas is moving the basketball. It's not sticking in anyone's hand for too long. Excellent rotation there by the Red Raiders. On the inside after the double team, they get back out, find their guy. That was a big part of the turnover there.
And Bill Self wants a word with Devontae Graham, freshman, coming to the bench. Oubre will come back in. Gocher calling for a screen.
Watch number 11 in black. Zach Smith, an excellent freshman. Brings a lot of energy, one of the best athletes on the floor here.
He's going to shoot a 3. Hits a 3. And Kansas has taken a timeout. You sensed it. It was coming.
Dave, in watching some of the film on this Texas Tech team, Zach Smith really stands out. He's 6'8", he's only 205 pounds, but he's very skilled. You see, he knocks down the three-point shot. Only his second of the year. That's a little bit past his range. It's something he can gain maybe when he's a sophomore or junior or on into being an upperclassman. But he is Coach Tubby Smith's favorite player on this team. He called him committed, coachable, and disciplined. And his teammates absolutely love him. He's a guy that's highly focused and continues to want to get better and learn every day. And he's a hard worker. And I think he's a guy that's going to have a great impact in this league over his 4 years here.
Yeah, look, that's in large part what this season is about for Texas Tech. Last year, Tubby Smith takes over. This year is really, in some ways, almost like his first year. His first full class of recruits. All these freshmen, young guys getting big minutes.
And he has these guys competing at a high level. Now, they have struggled on the road. They feel much more confident at home. But I think as they gain more experience.
Selden open. 3 goes down. Man, is he shooting it well.
And great ball movement against the zone. Tubby Smith tried to mix it up there. Kansas was prepared for it. And Wayne Selden, the sophomore, really emerging here in Big 12 play.
That ends the 7-0 run. I don't know how you zone this Kansas team a whole lot. Gocher, I think Alexander affected another shot at the rim. Now Alexander running the floor with Mason. Extra pass, Selden. I think Kansas thought he was fouled. The ball was obviously partially tipped.
His release was too slow on that. He didn't think that the Red Raider player can get there. That's a chance where after you've hit a couple threes, you shot fake them, one dribble, pull up, and shoot the wide open 15-footer.
Mason tried to steal it away. Out of bounds, Texas Tech keeps it.
Selden's been so versatile for this team. You've mentioned the defense. He's second on the team in assists. A lot of times he takes on the best offensive player for the opposing team.
Well, I like it. A lot of pressure on that kid with huge expectations. And he didn't live up to them last year to a great degree, but he's playing very well.
Played for a great high school program, the Tilton School.
Odiase with a foul.
And who's the guy that made the pass? Great feel for the game. Zach Smith, the high-low touch. Catches outside the three, delivers it where only his guy can catch the ball. Cliff Alexander doesn't see ball in man in that case. Odiase with the soft hands, takes the contact, and able to finish.
So second foul on Alexander. He goes to the bench. Odiase 3 for 3 at the line. He has not been a good free throw shooter this year. He's working on it. That looked like what we've seen for most of the season.
Yeah, Odiase kind of a little bit in the mold of Thomas Gibson in this league. Kind of an undersized post, a very physical guy. Plays a little bit below the rim.
And Lucas in for Alexander. Oubre, quick pass down low to Ellis. Back to Oubre for three. Not this time. Odiase, nice box out.
I'm surprised we haven't seen Brandon Green in the game since they've gone to the zone defense.
Well, three could tie it. 7.5 to go first half. Texas Tech hanging in there with the 8th ranked team in the country.
Remember the first time these two teams played, it was a 32-point blowout for the Jayhawks at Fog Allen.
Smith thought about the three. Shot clock starting to wind down. Gocher with 4 to shoot. Challenged by Ellis. In and out. Here comes Kansas. Tough pass. Oubre just threw it away. So a little sloppy from the Jayhawks. They do lead by 3.
State has won 3 in a row against top 25 teams, in Oklahoma with an excellent win as their starting 5 is as good as anybody in the country for Lon Kruger's squad.
Iowa State, I mean, they have the 4 losses. Nice play by Frank Mason. Good help defense to knock it out of bounds. And they say it's out of bounds off of... Oh, wait a minute.
They're saying it's off of Odiase.
Wow. So Red Raiders fans and Tubby Smith most of all not happy about that call. We just can't believe it. But Iowa State, they've already played Kansas twice. They played in Norman. That's an offensive foul against the Jayhawks.
And they're calling that against Mikhailu.
That's a sarcastic smile, I think, from Bill Self. Sviatoslav Mikhailu, who has played a grand total of 8 minutes in the last 8 games. He's hardly played in a game for the Jayhawks.
And DNPs in 6 of those 8 games, but he's not happy with the guys like Oubre, Devontae Graham, Brandon Green right now.
Here's a 3. Good from Robert Turner, and Texas Tech has tied the game.
And this is almost worst case scenario for Bill Self's team and what he talked about to us at shoot-around. Giving this young Red Raider team confidence at home that they can play, that they can hang. You get up early on this game, you don't bury them, you don't finish possessions, you turn the ball over, and then now you find yourself in a tie game with 6 minutes left in the first half.
Foul against Gocher, just the second foul called against the Red Raiders. Texas Tech will be in a bonus on the next whistle against Kansas. Ellis, one dribble to the bucket, wild shot, missed it. So now Texas Tech can take the lead. Turner trying to direct traffic. Shot clock down to 17. Smith, Mikhailu got his hands on it, couldn't strip it away. Here's Turner to the bucket. Nice dish. Odiase missed the layup. And it's going to be out of bounds off of Texas Tech.
Boy, was that a nice pass by the senior Robert Turner. Gets all the way into the paint, drops it off to Odiase. Just not able to convert. And how many of those have they missed or had altered here in the first half?
It does give you an idea of how things are going for Kansas. Cliff Alexander with the 2 personals is coming back in the game.
He's been really the only guy that's been effective on the defensive end as far as changing shots in the paint.
Jayhawks were up 11, but a 12-3 run. Part of this Red Raiders comeback. They tied it at 20.
For Texas Tech, make sure you get out to the shooters. Remember, Kansas, not a great interior scoring team. Better from beyond the arc.
Here's Mason. He's going to try to create. Mikhailuk blocked. His three rejected by Smith. Another good play by the freshman.
That is the third blocked jump shot in the first half.
Yeah, third block three.
And you have to realize a guy like Zach Smith coming out at you, be able to use the shot fake, go by him, shoot the mid-range jumper, or draw another defender and then kick it out.
Shot clock at 4. Selden, step back. They almost blocked another one. Rebound Odiase. So this game has changed dramatically. Sevy Smith called the play from the sideline. See Texas Tech run its half-court offense. That ball stripped and stolen.
That was all Wayne Selden. Great denial, overpowered Gocher, denied the ball, and then leads to the transition opportunity. Big time play by Wayne Selden there to create the turnover.
What a move by Frank Mason.
Frank Mason just so improved over last year, just playing with a great sense of confidence. It's going to end up being all Big 12.
It had 8 possessions in a row Kansas had without any points before that transition bucket for Mason. Turner will try another three. That one way too strong. Mikhailuk, nice look to Ellis inside. He doesn't finish. And that's what we've been talking about. Kansas getting looks and not scoring in the paint.
And that was a great move by Perry Ellis. He felt the defender on his high side, spun right off him. But the ball rolls right out.
Ellis is 1 for 5 shooting in the first half. That ball goes out of bounds off of who? Off of Texas Tech. So it's going to be Kansas ball when we come back to Lubbock. The Jayhawks clinging to a 2-point lead. In the league, D'Angelo Russell playing so well. Michigan State, Miles, dare we say, on the bubble. I mean, they need to make sure they win some games here down the stretch.
Yeah, Michigan State, I don't know necessarily on the bubble, but their seed is constantly dropping. They lose to Illinois at home on Saturday. And if you haven't seen D'Angelo Russell play, make sure you tune in, because you're not going to see it for much longer. Only a few more weeks in college basketball before he probably ends up turning pro and being a top 5 pick. But he's coming off a triple-double on Sunday. He's a big guard, 6'5", can handle the ball, shoot it, great rebounder. One of the best players in all of college basketball.
Tremendous. It has been so fun watching him play. So that's noon on Saturday. Mason, runner, way too strong. Ellis, good hustle for the offensive rebound, though.
This Texas Tech zone is giving the Jayhawks some trouble.
Traylor passes out of the middle of the zone. Selden throws it away.
The 8th turnover of the half for the Jayhawks. Just seemed completely out of sync after starting this game so well on the offensive end. And Coach Self, he must be really down on Brandon Green, because Texas Tech has stayed in this zone over the last 3, 4, 5 minutes. And we haven't seen the best shooter in America, maybe, in Brandon Green, even make a move towards coming in the game.
Yeah, what did he play? A minute or so and came right out and hasn't been back in.
If you're Texas Tech, you feel really good about where you're at. You're down 2, and your leading scorer, Devontae Williams, right there as he drives, has not scored a point yet for the Red Raiders.
Perry Ellis is doing some good things for Bill Self's team. Not scoring much, and he misses another one. Had another good look. It's gotten ragged here in Lubbock. Williams, nice pass. Ross missed it. Point blank range, wide open. Texas Tech, though, does keep the ball and a fresh shot clock. Here's Manderson, the freshman, just a wild heave. Terrible shot.
No, Manderson couldn't go anywhere with that. Jamari Traylor did an excellent job of walling up.
You got to make that one.
Yeah, Ross has to finish the first one to get this game tied up.
Selden 3. No good. Rebound Smith. Brandon Green, the kid we were just talking about, is waiting at the scorer's table to come in for Kansas. A minute and a half to go, and this is a 2-point game. Well, give Texas Tech credit. They were down big early. Evans attacks. Evans ties the game.
Good patience by the freshman Keenan Evans. And the nice finish.
Evan Mikhailuk in rhythm missed the three. Open shot. And now Mason, what a great play to steal it away. And to find Selden, who lays it in.
And those are just the little things that keeps Texas Tech from winning games maybe like this. If it comes down the stretch, just little turnovers, you give away 2 points, you have the momentum, and just a lazy pass, and Frank Mason and Selden make him pay.
That same type of play has happened a lot for the Red Raiders. The field goal shooting on both sides has been ugly. Shot clock down to 15. Ross against Ellis, bullies his way inside, but falling away, missed the shot. Traylor almost lost the ball. Shot clock is off. And so Bill Self, those three guys just waiting and waiting at the scorer's table. And they're going to stand up and go back to the bench because Bill Self is going to keep this group in the game, not use a timeout, and play for the final shot. Calling out a flat, which essentially means get out of the way, let Frank Mason do something. So here he goes. Mason kicks it to Selden. Wide open three is good. And what an ending to the half for Kansas. Great play by those two guys. And the Jayhawks will take a 5-point cushion into the locker room against a very tough-minded, young, inexperienced Texas Tech team. Coming up, our Land Rover halftime report. Those huge games before us. Kentucky, Notre Dame. Close wins, the undefeateds. The guys will talk about that. So that's coming up at the Land Rover halftime report as the teams make their way. Bill Self for Kansas. Tubby Smith in the huddle with his Red Raiders team. Wayne Selden with a big first half for the Jayhawks. 13 points to lead everybody in this game. First minutes, Miles, it looked like Kansas might run away with this when shots were going in for the outside. Up 11 almost right away. And Texas Tech hung in there.
Yeah, Texas Tech really did. They battled. They stayed tough on the defensive end. Tubby Smith mixed in some zone defense. Kansas was unable to finish or shoot a high percentage inside of the arc. Saw Bill Self was very upset about that. And Kansas, too many turnovers. 8 turnovers in the first half.
And that hurt them on the road in Stillwater this weekend. One of the reasons why they lost to the Cowboys. Sloppy with the ball. Jayhawks have the ball first to start the half. Selden looking to get it inside. Mason will shoot the three. Hits the three.
Nice job by Mason, just kind of freezing the defense. Red Raiders bluffed at him. He got his feet set and squared off the little pass fake and knocks down the three.
So Kansas up by 8. They continue to shoot the ball well from 3. That's their 6th made three-pointer of this game already. Timeout, Tubby Smith, man. So just a few seconds into the half, we get to step aside. Tubby not happy. His team down 8.
Heat Cavs at 8. Rockets Clippers at 10.
Undefeated, that undefeated record on the line against South Carolina.
And there you see the Kansas Jayhawks' second most BPI top 50 wins of anyone in the country. Kentucky picked up their 11th earlier tonight in a 2-point win against LSU, but Kansas always challenges themselves in the non-conference. And then when you get into Big 12 play, especially this year, this is the deepest conference in all of college basketball.
Reverse layup from Odiase. So Texas Tech out of the timeout, less than a minute into the half. With a bucket, it's a 6-point Kansas lead.
And I think you'd love to see that for Tubby Smith. With such a young team, to be able to call the timeout, get the play that you want, and be able to score off of it. Positive sign for the Red Raiders.
Selden fires one into the corner. Oubre. A double team has been pretty effective for Texas Tech. But they leave Selden open, and he knocks down another three.
Well, the ball movement continues to be tremendous for the Jayhawks. They got it inside one time to Perry Ellis, the double team. They kicked it out. I like that Wayne Selden flashed from the weak side and then handed it off to Mason and then got it back and knocked down the three.
I'm talking about playing to form. Look at that. Gocher in and out, no good. Odiase fights for the offensive board. Kansas has made 7 threes. They've made 5. 2-point buckets.
Odiase is a workhorse down low, 2 offensive rebounds per game. His numbers have been down in conference play, only 3 points per game, but tonight looking like an all-star.
Ellis down the lane. Ellis with the left hand. So there's one from a big man close to the bucket. Kansas feels like they need a lot more of those.
Yeah, Perry Ellis, 6 double-doubles on the season, and there's kind of the veteran leadership, what you need. He's a strong left-hand driver. You have to know the scouting report. If you're Texas Tech, force him back to his right hand.
Good look by Williams, and Ellis tried to block Smith, but called for the personal foul.
Perry Ellis' field goal percentage has been way down this year compared to what he did last year. He was 55% from the field. This year only 44 coming in to tonight's game, but he's been excellent in conference play. Shooting the ball well. He's extended his range to the 3-point line.
Smith at the free throw line, short on the first one. Well, and look, we keep talking about it because it's what Bill Self is talking about, and it is interesting. Kansas has a very good outside shooting team, maybe the best that Self has had as the Jayhawks head coach. But it's not the way that typically he wants to play. It just doesn't fit that style of Kansas team we've seen year after year.
Yeah, they don't have the big 6'10", 6'11", 7-footer that they've had, over the past 5 or 6 seasons. Ellis, Alexander, Jamari Traylor, all about 6'8". Landon Lucas comes in about 6'10", but he's almost more of a face-up guy also, not a true back-to-the-basket player.
Well, that counts as another Kansas turnover. You were talking about that. They've been sloppy with the ball. 9 turnovers in the game now. Mason committed the offensive foul. Texas Tech hanging around. Odiase. Good pass. Smith draws another foul. Selden thought he had a clean block.
I really like what the freshman Zach Smith did right there. That's a high IQ play. They come with the big double. And Zach Smith, he does exactly what you're taught to do. He follows his guy, presents himself, and Odiase steps between the double team and finds Smith on the drop-off.
We'll take a look at that play again as Smith misses the first of 2 free throws.
And if we freeze it right there, look at Smith is following his guy to the open area. Presents himself. Odiase does a good job of facing up and not getting on his heels. Excellent job of navigating the double team.
Well, Brandon Green comes in the game for Kansas. Just has not played much in this game. Numbers spectacular shooting from the outside. Missed them both. Alexander rebound. Now a foul against Texas Tech. A silly foul.
Well, you mentioned Green. We asked Bill Self, is he the best shooter that he's ever coached? And he said, yeah, he's the best shooter. The only guy he said that was comparable to him really is Brandon Rush. And he said the shots that Green makes, they're not just like wide open practice jumpers in games. They're contested threes that he gets great lift and hands in his face, and he just shoots it at a tremendously high percentage.
Well, we've both been talking a lot about Brandon Green's shooting these last few weeks. We've seen Kansas a lot. Here's Green. Not looking for the shot that time.
He didn't even square up that time.
Ellis forced one up, but a whistle and a foul. So Perry Ellis goes to the free throw line. But just to reiterate that point, we asked Bill point blank, is he the best shooter you've ever had? I mean, they've had a lot of great players, All-American players in his tenure in Lawrence, and he, without hesitation, said that guy right there is the best pure shooter we've had.
And I feel this guy at the foul line right here, a 4-time state champion from Wichita Heights High School, Coach Joe Auer, is going to have to even elevate his play to a higher level if they want to win the Big 12 tournament and make some type of run in the NCAA tournament onto the second weekend and maybe a Final Four.
Well, Kansas continues to inch that lead forward against Texas Tech, up by 10. About 3.5 minutes into the second half. Evans cuts to the basket, then had the ball tipped up in the air. It's loose. Smith hustles after it, but Mason strips it away. Mason, good bounce pass. Green had it knocked out of bounds. Kansas will keep it. Offense hard to come by for Texas Tech. These last few possessions. Graham comes in. Mason comes out just to get a little breather. Devontae Williams has been invisible. He has not scored a point in this game. He goes to the bench.
And really, it's really surprising because at home he's been phenomenal. 14 points per game in conference for Devontae Williams, whereas I think he only gets about 4 points a game on the road.
A lob, and Selden got knocked off balance as he was elevating to go up and try to take that pass. Gocher will be called for the personal.
Well, Texas Tech had the play scouted. They knew the lob was coming. Gocher just kind of ran rush shot over Wayne Selden, so he couldn't get up in the air and catch the lob.
Lucas, good catch. There's Green, open three, goes down, just pure. Man.
And what's amazing, I love the unselfishness of Wayne Selden. Selden could have shot that ball, and he's been as hot as anyone in this gym, obviously, but he gets his partner going, and he delivered that pass right in the shooting pocket for the rhythm of Green.
Biggest lead for Kansas. They go in, and they look good going in for Brandon Green.
And this is where Texas Tech gets into trouble. Now they're not getting stops, and they're really a team that struggles to score.
Evans, shot clock winding down. Runner in and out. Here comes Kansas. Ellis down low. That's a push from behind. So a timeout here in Lubbock. Jayhawks playing well. We lost a giant in the college basketball world, so closely connected to the Kansas program. We're going to talk about the great Dean Smith when we come back. You played in the final game that you didn't know it at the time, but it was the final game that the great Coach Smith ever coached.
Yeah, I feel tremendously honored to be a part of that basketball game against Dean Smith and a great North Carolina team with Vince Carter, Anton Jameson, Ed Cota, Shammond Williams, but it ends up being the last game in Dean Smith's illustrious career, iconic career. Coach Smith actually recruited me for a short time out of high school, and when they decided to go in a different direction, that was a great pass there by Wayne Selden to the inside. And Coach Smith personally wrote me a letter that I kept for a very long time. He just said he felt that I was going to be a great college player, and he wished me the best of luck in my college career, but that they were going to recruit some other guys that they maybe felt they had a better chance at. And I actually kept that letter throughout my college career, kept it on a bulletin board, not as bulletin board material, but where I kept mementos of my family and stuff in my apartment in college. Brought that letter to the Final Four. But I have that much true class act in Dean Smith to be able to write that letter. Most coaches just kind of stop recruiting you. But I think it's the things that Dean Smith, prided his teaching his players how to be respectful and act like true gentlemen, and one of the best coaches, obviously, to ever do it.
You and your Arizona Wildcats teammates beat North Carolina, went on to beat Kentucky, won the national championship game. That was the last game that Rick Pitino coached at Kentucky. Tubby Smith, the Texas Tech coach, then came in the next year to coach at Kentucky and won the national championship. But, Coach Smith had such a close connection to this Jayhawks program. He grew up in Emporia, Kansas. His dad was a high school coach and a high school teacher. He went on to play for the Jayhawks. Dean Smith, part of the 1952 Kansas national championship team. So he was a very good player for the Jayhawks. Immediately when his playing career was done, started his coaching career, made his name really in college hoops at North Carolina, but the Jayhawks claim him, rightfully so, as one of their own.
Dave, and think about how basketball transcends time. Okay, Dean Smith played for Fog Allen.
Yes.
Fog Allen learned the game from James Naismith, the inventor of the game. And Dean Smith taught the game to the best player to ever play basketball, Michael Jordan. I mean, the time gap in that, it's unbelievable that those names could still all be linked together is truly amazing.
From James Naismith to Fog Allen to Dean Smith to Michael Jordan.
And it will continue on for the next 100 years, things that four corners or changing defenses or pointing to the assist man in basketball, all things Dean Smith was an innovator of.
Well, Zach Smith just did a little Dean Smith trick. Nice pass. Thanks. As he jogs back down to the defensive end. The Texas Tech trying to hang in this game. Devontae Graham misses the jumper. We will all miss Coach Smith. And it's really been remarkable to hear the stories from everyone, you included, who were touched by one of the all-time greats. Each of these coaches just didn't want to stop talking when we asked them both today about the influence that Coach Smith had on them, on their teaching and coaching styles, on their programs.
Well, Tubby Smith, he really shared a couple nice stories. He said he sent his son to North Carolina camp, summer camp one time, and Tubby Smith was just an assistant at VCU at the time. He said a few weeks after the camp is over, Dean Smith had sent him his check back in the mail, you know, trying to help a young assistant coach out and keep a little salary in his pocket. And he said, you know, Tubby Smith, you know, coached high school ball in North Carolina. He attended a ton of clinics that Coach Dean Smith put on. He said, told us today, everything that Coach Dean Smith did, I've tried to emulate and put into my coaching throughout my career.
And he literally said everything. What parts of your program or your style come from Coach Smith? Everything. High praise from Tubby. Well, Williams is on the scoreboard. He's got one now, made one of 2 free throws. 12-point lead for Kansas. Ellis shoots the three. It's good. Even the big men, maybe not finishing inside. They're hitting shots from the outside.
Well, in the first matchup against Texas Tech, when Perry Ellis had 15 points, he knocked down 3 for 3 from behind the arc.
There's a whistle and a foul away from the basket. I have an idea. I know it goes against what Kansas has been about under Bill Self, or against what his coaching philosophy is. Maybe Kansas should just start shooting more threes. They are undoubtedly good at it. Celtic, it is not easy to do what Kansas has done. I don't care what level, what sport.
No, truly an amazing accomplishment. We were able to ask Coach Self today, is this team feeling any pressure about, you know, trying to live up to those expectations? He said, no, this team is really kind of relishing the opportunity, and that they don't want to be the team. They're very motivated to not be the team that ends the streak.
Well, Williams hits his first shot from the field. Texas Tech needed that one badly. They're down 12 with under 13 to play.
Devontae Williams, a guy that can really score in spurts. Had the last 11 points of the Kansas State win.
Graham down low. Nice pass to Ellis, who finishes with the left hand, plus a foul. Well, Perry Ellis has 11 since halftime, and he's got a chance for another one at the line.
Well, 2 great things on that play. Devontae Graham delivers that pass where only Perry Ellis can catch it. He throws it away from the defense, and Perry Ellis does a great job of sealing and getting a good angle on the post-up. Excellent execution by the Jayhawks.
So in the second half, he's got 12. Texas Tech as a team has 12. Perry Ellis has come to life.
Well, I'm sure Bill Self had something to do with that, probably in the halftime locker room, talking to his inside players.
Talking, maybe one way to put it.
I'm sure it was very mildly put.
Lucas challenged that one, grabbed the rebound, and throws the outlet pass, but throws it too strong. Out of bounds.
And I know he's trying to make a positive play, but you don't need it. You're outletting to Green, who's mostly a spot-up shooter. For the most part, Texas Tech had 2 or 3 guys back on defense. No advantage there for the Jayhawks.
We won't do any lip reading, but I think Bill was thrilled.
I heard you're an excellent lip reader. Did you know what he said?
It's a hidden talent of mine, Miles. You're around coaches long enough, you better learn how to lip read. Kansas's defense has also been very solid. Williams just dribbling and gets it stolen away. Graham all the way, rejected by Evans. What a block. And then Mason hustled after it. It's going to be off of Mason, Texas Tech ball. Well, that was some nice defense. Maybe that can spark Texas Tech down 15.
State's 12 of those 16 points from the forward, really establishing himself as a force and a presence.
Bill Self's words essentially were, we need somebody who can make a shot inside.
And I don't think it's necessarily post-up. These guys aren't great back to the basket players where you just drop it down low and they're going to give you, 2-pound dribbles and back you down and give you a nice jump hook or a turnaround. It can be off drives because they're really good at facing up. or drive and dish, just finishing in the paint.
No Okafor or Towns on this team.
No.
Ross from the corner, no good. And Lucas giving Kansas some positive minutes off the bench. Lucas will get a touchdown low. Green elevates, hits the three.
Great passing. The ball goes inside, skips to the other side of the floor. Guys sacrificing their own shot to get Brandon Green a shot. And that was one of those ones that we talked about, that Brandon Green shoots contested threes. They're not easy, wide open jumpers. There was a Texas Tech Red Raider defender coming right at his face, and he knocks it down with ease.
It's becoming a borderline bromance. I love watching this guy shoot the ball. And he is an unbelievable three-point shooter, Brandon Green.
Well, I know you worked with two NBA guys on Saturday, Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson, and that they were loving this guy's pro potential going forward, because Brandon Green, I mean, he's 6'7", 215. He's long. He has a very quick release. He's a good athlete. There's a hand in his face. That's a good closeout by Turner.
Totally challenge hand right there, elevates and knocks it down anyway. I'm with you. And I think we agree with those guys. Shot clock starting to wind down. Texas Tech, can they even get a shot off? They do, and it goes down for Williams.
Devontae Williams, a guy that can heat it up very quickly. He can score in bunches, 18 points per game at Missouri State West Plains Junior College.
Lucas lays it in. Another good pass from a guard to a big man.
Great pass by Frank Mason. Again, the seal. Landon Lucas getting the angle and the position down low, and Frank Mason delivers it right on the money.
Eliase challenged by Lucas. Gets his own miss and is fouled.
I like the way Odiase has worked tonight in the post area. Hasn't backed down from this Kansas front line, has really attacked and gone right at him. Done a good job of getting to the foul line, drawing fouls.
And he does have to become a better free throw shooter. In his Texas Tech career, he's going to shoot a lot of these.
Yeah, he is. He's going to get fouled a lot. He's a thick body, 6'9", about 270 pounds. But I think Tubby Smith has some positive things going for his team. He's going to return most of these players next year that are in the rotation. They're missing one of their most important players, Justin Gray, a freshman from Tampa, Florida, who was a first-team All-State guy, had been playing well, getting about 7 points per game, went down with a knee injury. He gives them great size on the wing. Throwing him in with Devontae Williams. Gocher will be back next year. Zach Smith is very promising. Keenan Evans had a nice game tonight. But the Red Raiders have a lot of positive things to build on. And Tubby Smith, you have a national champion as your coach. I think and a great teacher of this game can go a long way here in Lubbock.
Mason into the corner. Green had it knocked out of his hands. Shot clock winding down. Reach and foul. That will bail the Jayhawks out a little bit in the fourth foul against Todrick Gocher.
And I don't think that was very much there by Gocher. Gocher did a good job of closing to Green, making him put it on the floor, and then was putting more ball pressure on him.
You can feel the energy sort of slipping away from Texas Tech. Green, who's not just a great three-point shooter, almost perfect from the free throw line. You know, he does at Kansas in close games. He is often on the floor at the end of games because of that excellent free throw shooting. He's a real valuable weapon in those kind of situations.
Yeah, and Bill Self has toyed with some lineups where you can play Green or Oubre really at the 4 spot, because they have enough size if they want to spread the floor out a little bit more and have more three-point shooting at the end of games.
His head coach wasn't real happy with him in the first half. He hardly played. He's playing a lot in the second half. Williams kicks it to Smith for the lay-in.
Devontae Williams, totally different player here in the second half, much more aggressive, getting to the paint right there, and the beautiful drop-off to Zach Smith.
I can see why you like Zach Smith so much.
He's just active. He has a great nose for the ball. Tubby Smith said he's maybe our highest basketball IQ player.
Mason, 3 on the way. Jayhawks are red hot from the outside.
And for Frank Mason, that continues a streak of double-figure games. Now 21 straight for Frank Mason. That's his 10th point of the night. Young man that was a big-time scorer in high school.
The three-pointer answer no good. And the ball ricochets to Selden. Green leaking out, flushes it home. Jayhawks pulling away. They are 11 of 19 from 3 in this game. The Big 12's best three-point shooting team, Kansas, doing it again tonight. And Texas Tech, they've been a good defensive team. They've been particularly good on defense here at home.
One thing that makes Kansas tough to guard, there's so many different options on the perimeter from behind the arc, and as you've watched tonight, the way they share the basketball, it doesn't stick. Guys don't hold on to the ball. Guys aren't pounding it. They run great motion or great ball movement, and here comes another lay-in for the Jayhawks.
A lob, Alexander, forget the lay-in, he dunks it home. Timeout, Tubby Smith. Man, when they're playing free and easy and confident, they are pretty fun to watch.
Well, defense leading to offense, and Frank Mason getting out in transition and rewarding his big fella, Cliff Alexander, with the throwdown. And Tubby Smith, one of his biggest concerns coming into this game is his team gives up too many points in transition. 19 points per game off of turnovers. You saw 2 of them right there by the Jayhawks.
Now look at those shooting numbers. The two-point shooting hadn't been bad for Kansas, but 11 of 19 from three-point range for the Jayhawks. And I'm glad you pointed out Frank Mason. He's got 8 assists, 1 turnover, so it's another game for the guy that Bill Self says has been their best overall player this year, where he's just been in total command.
He was a total gym rat in the offseason. When they lost Nadir Tharp, he knew that the point guard duties were going to fall on his shoulders. And if the Jayhawks were going to be successful and win another Big 12 title and try to compete for Final Fours and national championships, as most of Bill Self's teams do, Frank Mason was going to need to have a good year. And he has been rock solid all season long.
It has gotten so ragged for Texas Tech on offense. Green active on the glass. Bill Self wants to see more of that. Another lob. This one goes through the hands of Alexander. So a turnover for Kansas. Timeout in Lubbock. Jayhawks up big.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Cree LED Lighting and in part by...
They are an unselfish team. They're coming off extra passes, ball movement against zone or man-to-man, and it comes from a variety of guys. Mason, Selden, Oubre, Ellis, Green have all hit threes tonight, and there you see 58% from behind the arc.
11 of 19 as a team, 6 of 6 in the second half from three-point range. And now some fans, and I don't know whether it was a promotion or something, but there's some stuff that's flown out onto the court, so we're going to have a little delay.
May I have your attention, please? Please refrain from throwing things onto the court. Thank you very much.
Well, that's not good. Some of it is caught up in the sort of like the little gusts
Once again, please refrain
whipping
from
around
throwing things onto
this
the court.
arena. So they had like a little raffle or something, and I guess people who didn't win said, I don't want to hold on to this ticket anymore. Back to basketball, 63-39, 6.5 to go. Here's Williams down the lane for Texas Tech. Alexander plays volleyball with that shot. Odiase scores with the foul against Alexander. So a chance for a three-point play for Texas Tech.
Odiase just carving out space underneath against Cliff Alexander. Cliff Alexander is a big physical young man. But Odiase has a thick base down low, big legs, wide body.
Not many guys who can push Cliff Alexander out of the way.
No.
Odiase misses the free throw. So we've been talking about Kansas's shooting from the outside, and they are undoubtedly excellent at it. if that's the focal point of their offense, can that be a successful offensive formula come March?
Well, if you get hot, obviously, like they're shooting the ball tonight, it can carry you through a few games. But the problem is when you go into the NCAA tournament, you have an off night from behind the arc and a team takes away that strength that you have, and the inside guys aren't finishing, whether it's Perry Ellis or Alexander or Traylor. You know, it could be a long night for a Jayhawks team. It could lead to a possible upset. But the other positive thing for this Jayhawk team is that they are defending at a much higher level than they were the first couple months of the season. They're leading the Big 12 in field goal percentage defense, which they've done 8 times under Bill Self, and they'll probably do it again this year. So their defense has been a staple, but you worry about if you're just reliant on the three-point shot.
You saw Bill talking to Brandon Green. Look, Bill has not told me this specifically, but I do think he played 29 minutes, Green did, on Saturday in Stillwater. You see Coach Self doing a lot of coaching of Green. And I think he knows he's a guy he needs out there on the floor come NCAA tournament time. He's trying to get him as ready as he possibly can be.
I believe that too, but also Green is a little bit of a liability on the defensive end, as he as he showed right there, as he just stayed on the hip of his defender and then had really no desire to get back in front and gives up a layup.
I think that's what a lot of the coaching is, trying to improve that part of the game. Cliff Alexander, another stop for the freshman big man.
Just has long arms, quick vertical, got off the ground and thrown that one down.
Williams 3. Alexander tried to tip the rebound to himself. Turner blocked by the rim. Alexander, another one? No. Nice play by Zach Smith to get in the way of the lob.
Here's the previous possession. The nice drive by Wayne Selden. The strength for Cliff Alexander to go through that contact as Zach Smith got him across the arm and then to throw it down.
You can sort of see why teams at the high school level had a hard time handling him. Nice play out of bounds, but Ellis missed the shot. That's a pushing foul against Texas Tech. I think that's exactly what Bill Self wanted. Ellis just didn't finish.
But I think Bill Self has gotten what he's wanted out of inserting Cliff Alexander into the starting lineup. An excellent defensive presence, as he's had 3 blocks tonight. He's ran the floor. He's done a fairly good job of finishing around the rim, especially in transition.
Alexander at the free throw line, front end of the 1-and-1, and he hits the first. Friday night, little Friday night college hoops on ESPN. Number 7 Arizona licking their wounds a little bit on the road, taking on a desperate Washington team. That's at 9 Eastern. Stanley Johnson, a wooden watch candidate.
Arizona taking a tough loss up the road in Tempe to Arizona State. They had a week to prepare for that game, obviously, as did Arizona State. But Arizona gives up 50% from the field, loses their 3rd true road game of the year, knocking them out of the number 1 seed according to Joe Lunardi's bracketology right now.
Selden on the move. Alexander along the base. Now, did I see Joe has Kansas still on that number 2 line?
Yep.
As a number 2 seed. But with, you know, the strength of schedule, as tough as the Big 12 is, a number 1 seed is not an impossibility for this Kansas group, I don't think. Alexander, you may be right. It would be interesting to see. Nothing set in stone, but he may not leave that starting lineup after this performance.
Yeah, after this performance, it's going to be tough to take him out of the starting lineup with the energy and the effort that he's played with tonight. But Kansas, no, they'll be in play because they'll have some tough games still coming up in conference play. Get a few more in the conference tournament. Virginia right now was out without Justin Anderson, who goes down with a broken finger. So maybe if they lose a game or 2 while he's out, the committee takes that into consideration for Anderson, but you know, it depends on when Anderson's going to come back.
Start to get some of his bench players who don't play a lot of minutes into this game. So you see Lucas, you see Hunter Mickelson wearing number 42. Sviatoslav Mikhailuk, a very talented, still just 17 years old kid from the Ukraine.
And if you go on YouTube and put in Sviatoslav Mikhailuk, and you're going to have to look up the spelling yourself at home. But, man, some of the stuff that I saw on tape of Mikhailuk playing in European Championships, some of the moves, he has great athleticism. He can put the ball on the floor. He hasn't been able to show everything that he can do in a Jayhawk uniform, but he has a very bright and promising future here in Lawrence.
Won't turn 18 until June.
Amazing.
So extremely young. Shot partially blocked from behind. Kansas comes away with the ball before that shot clock violation. Oubre from the corner missed the three. Luke Adams, who is a fan favorite, is in the game, got the rebound.
Luke Adams, really a special story. Luke Adams, born deaf. He's one of 58,000 adults in the U.S. to wear a cochlear implant in his ear.
He's hustling all over the place. Came up with another loose ball and got fouled, and Adams will go to the free throw line. So for a Texas Tech team that hasn't had a lot of positive moments, when we come back, that'll count as one. Kansas is up big. Jayhawks.
Yeah, it's just a great bonus for Bill Self to have a guy that can come out and give you instant offense, especially from behind the arc on a consistent basis.
Well, Luke Adams at the free throw line, a guy Miles was talking about, missed the front end of the one-and-one. Texas Tech gets the ball back, and Adams tried a no-look pass. Problem is his teammate wasn't looking. Ball goes out of bounds, but off of Kansas, so Adams and the Red Raiders keep it.
Adams was a guy that was a regular contributor, especially as a freshman. He played in 23 games, 7 starts. He averaged 4 points a game. His dad, Mark, is now the director of basketball operations for Tubby Smith and the Red Raiders.
Adams is trying to clear everybody out.
Well, Adams was the first guy out here at shoot-around today getting shots up, and the first guy pregame also working on his three-point shooting.
Williams looking to pass, has sort of telegraphed that one. It's been a quiet night for Kelly Oubre, and Williams just stole it right away from the freshman. Williams layup good.
Nice job by Devontae Williams as this Red Raider team continues to play hard and battle here into the last 2 minutes of the game.
Now a travel, so a timeout and a turnover rather, and Bill Self will get even more of his bench players in the game. So some guys who really don't get a lot of minutes at all, including Bill's son, Tyler. He wears number 11 for this Kansas team. Tyler Self in the game.
When we asked Coach Self today at shoot-around about coaching his son, his face just lit up. He said he's so excited he gets to spend so much more time around his son because, you know, these college coaches, their schedule, it's all year round and it's nonstop, and you don't get to spend necessarily the amount of time with your family that you want to on a daily basis. But he said having his son Tyler on the team this year has made it that much more fun, that much more exciting for him personally, spending time around him.
Josh Pollard. That ball knocked out of the hands of Christian Garrett. So Texas Tech and Luke Adams with the ball back. A minute and a half to go in Lubbock. Kansas is going to win their 9th league game, their 20th game overall. Adams shot off the mark. Evan Manning, who's got a dad who's accomplished a few things himself in this game of basketball. Manning with the nice spank shot.
Yeah, his dad, Danny Manning, national champion as a Jayhawk. Former #1 pick, now the head coach, doing an excellent job at Wake Forest in his first year there.
Good coach. Now a foul. So Texas Tech's young big man Isaiah Manderson will go to the line. One bit of news in the Big 12 Conference this week that involved Texas Tech and the Red Raiders. Their athletic director, and there he is, Kirby Okut, has been named to the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. Oliver Luck, who was sort of a Big 12 representative, athletic director at West Virginia, is leaving that job to take an NCAA job. Andrew's dad. So Kirby Okut, the Texas Tech AD, is going to go on to that playoff selection committee.
Were you happy with the committee? I know you call a lot of college football for ESPN. Did they get it right?
They got it right. They did a good job. Now out of bounds. Tyler Self gives the ball back to the Red Raiders.
And the Red Raiders fans love seeing that's the coach's son making a mistake on the floor.
Yeah, Bill loves spending time with his kid. It's not necessarily always that easy to coach your kid. Final 30+ seconds here. Williams just too little too late for him. They needed him when the game was much closer. Here's Garrett, the senior, missed the shot. The layup is good for Hunter Mickelson.
Mickelson, the transfer from Arkansas. Big-time shot blocker, good athlete.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a pedigree. Now another whistle against Kansas, so I think Luke Adams is going back to the free throw line. Chance to get in the scoring column. Well, you can tell how much they love him here. He is a great story.
Yeah, they truly do. Young man brings it every day in practice. Like I said, was a contributor early on in his career, but has stuck it out through many a coaching change here in Lubbock over the last few years.
That's the thing to keep in mind with this Texas Tech program, sort of having to rebuild from scratch. And they made progress, but not enough to challenge this very talented Kansas team. Final seconds tick off the clock. The teams will shake hands, and Kansas has what I think counts as a pretty impressive win.
Yeah, Kansas really sluggish in the first half and come out and dominate in the second half and take control of this basketball game. And their three-point shooting arsenal was on full display.
Like clockwork, another 20-win season for the Jayhawks, and they hope they finish with many, many more. So Frank Mason, Brandon Green and company come on the road and get a win to pad their lead in the Big 12. Final score, Kansas 73, Texas Tech 51. For Miles Simon, Dave Fleming saying so long. College basketball live coming up next.